Carson Beck is going to get $4 million to play for the Miami Hurricanes, and this changes the quarterback market once again. We got to talk about why this was a shrewd move for Carson Beck and why he actually might make more than the third quarterback selected in the upcoming NFL draft. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for being here. Subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss any of the segments that we upload here. Like the video and answer the comment below. Would you pay $4 million for Carson Beck to be your quarterback? Because Miami was certainly willing to do it. I think this is interesting. This is interesting for a number of reasons. A, $4 million for 1 year of football is significant at a place like Miami and in college, right? We've had groundbreaking deals happen, according to CBS Sports' John Talty, all over, right? So Darren Mensah is getting $8 million over the next 2 years to play at Duke. We have the $4 million that is being paid to Carson Beck. Depending on who you talk to, it's between $1.5 and $3 million for John Mateer at Oklahoma. And, I mean, we're talking about really a Miami team that hasn't won a conference championship in 22 years and looks like they could be on the cusp of doing something outstanding and great. So they're willing to overpay for the opportunity to get a quarterback who's gone, like 24-3 as a starter and has won an SEC championship and has been the best quarterback in the SEC, just wasn't this year. And he's coming back off surgery. And I don't think you're paying all this money if you don't think that the rehab and the surgery are going to be just fine. However, I think it is remarkable that we're talking about Carson Beck making a better decision for his financial future and his professional future than the third quarterback to get drafted in the upcoming 2025 NFL draft. Now, there's a couple of things here. The second round pick that was Will Levis in 2023 made $2.35 million in annual salary, right? Hendon Hooker was a third round pick. He made $1.43 million in annual salary. And then we've got, the salary cap for schools to $20.5 million that we expect to go up. And you expect maybe $12 to $15 million of that to be just for your football programs if you're playing in a Power 4 institution. Caleb Williams makes an annual average of $9.8 million, call it $10 million a year. You're getting $4 just to play in Coral Gables this year. So we got that, right? Now, let's take a look at what this upcoming draft class might actually look like and be about. And I found this to be kind of interesting. So Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, were polled by some NFL GMs to see, which quarterbacks would you want to take, right? And it wasn't just those two. Those two actually ended up at the top. Shedeur got 11 votes of 20 GMs and 9 first-place votes for Cam Ward. So those two guys we think are going to be first-round draft picks going into this. But now when you're looking at some of the other players that might very well be available in this draft, they're probably not going to make nearly as much as you might think to play in the NFL, which I think is wild because Carson Beck finished third here, getting 5 of the votes, right? And he's probably slotted right where you thought he was going to be, getting selected third. Behind him is Alabama's Jalen Milroe, and then we got Quinn Ewers, who we'll see if he makes the decision about what he's going to do, certainly. But I think for all of these guys, if they got the extra year of eligibility, they're going to use it because, A, you're probably going to make more than you would if you came out and you weren't the number 1 overall pick or the number 2 overall pick at the position. And then 2, that money's going to be there. Like I say this often to the players. If you can make more money in college, do that because the NFL ain't going nowhere, right? If anything, you can improve your draft stock. So guys like Dylan Gabriel did just that. Guys like Cam Ward. Cam Ward did what Carson Beck did. He said, I'm going to the NFL, got his grade back, and said, oh, hell, no, I'm not. And then became one of the most sought-after transfer portal quarterbacks of the season and ends up becoming a Heisman Trophy finalist and coming 1 win away from playing for the conference championship and maybe a college football playoff. You've seen that recipe work for you if you're Miami, if you're Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson. Why not do it again? And then, because y'all are on the Wags beat, y'all know that his girl is down there, and I don't really like talking about people's marriages and whatnot, because once we in there, we're not getting out. It's the same thing that happened with Travis Hunter and his woman. I just don't do it. But if y'all want to draw that conclusion, that's fine. I say the decision is personal. But I also think that the NFL is becoming a less attractive early opportunity, which is great for the NFL, right? The NFL, I think, quietly likes this. They like this because they're getting a much more seasoned player. it's us who end up yelling and screaming about how old a player is or isn't, right? How old Stetson Bennett is compared to Lamar Jackson or Caleb Williams or any of the young wonderkins that end up making it to the NFL, because after 3 years, they'd just be gone. But now, what I think is great for our sport is the Heisman Trophy winner isn't necessarily just going to go into the NFL if it's a guy that's in year 3 of his college career. Like Travis Hunter is going because he's out of eligibility, right? Shedeur Sanders going out of eligibility. Like, that's just how these things work. But if you're, say, Jeremiah Smith, and you end up winning the Biletnikoff Award in 2025 or 2026 and the Heisman Trophy, they probably could come up with a package to keep you at Ohio State unless you absolutely just want to go. And I don't even think guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. wanted to go. Like, Marv was around longer than many people expected him to be because he didn't want to go. He just needed to because he's the best wide receiver in the country, and he was going to be a first-round pick and get more guaranteed money. So when it comes to the business of college football, I'm always interested to find out just which one of these guys has looked at the numbers that they're likely to make in the NFL and the numbers they're likely to make in college, and they went with the business decision. What I find to be just, how do I put this? Passive aggressive is the idea that you're saying, hey, I missed the sport. I wanted to play more college football. Yeah, all right, cool, bet. We all do. But also be front with it, right? You're here for the money. And I get that coaches don't want this to be transactional. Like James Franklin was going, I want them to have an experience that is above being transactional. Like, it's easy to say if you make between $5 and $10 million to be a head coach. Money doesn't even have to factor anymore because you were taken care of forever. It's the reason why some coaches like Chip Kelly have made enough money to be able to say, I don't want to be a head coach anymore. I'll take a step back and just call plays. And that's what he's been able to do at Ohio State, making that job more attractive. So after a time, yeah, money doesn't figure, but the players aren't in this time. And now that you've got Illinois trying to push through a bill that is going to basically disadvantage players because they make more money is wild. Like, they have this bill that they want to pass in Illinois that is going to say that if a student athlete makes $250,000, once they make $1 over $250,000 annually, they're going to take $1 from their allotted scholarship. And I'm like, yo, dog, y'all are trying to cap how much money people make. And that only works if I get to cap how much money you make. All right? Like, I don't, people are worth what people are willing to pay for them. That's what that is. That's what America is. That's what a business is. If somebody wants to go destitute, spending all their money, you got to let that person do it. And meanwhile, why are you trying to disadvantage the players who are doing what we asked them to do? Go be great and go win, and they're getting paid for it. I don't understand this. It's only going to work against Illinois because, well, other states are going to negatively recruit against it because that's what I would do. And that's period. Like, why would you go to a place where they're going to cap how much money you can make? If you want to make $500,000 at Oklahoma, nobody's going to stop you, dog. Same thing at Texas. Like, they're just going to go, hey, cool, do it. Do what you got to do. And I think as we continue to talk about what the money does or doesn't do, and we create more stars in this sport, you're also going to see a better product in the NFL because it's going to be much more seasoned. It's going to be much more mature, and it's going to be much more readier to go fight and win. I think this is just great. I really do. I don't see a downside here in as far as what the system is allowing. I think how we operate within the system, yeah, we can make this a mess. We can screw this up. We're already asking for other people to tell us how to run college football, and I don't think that's smart either. I think that we're smart enough to figure it out. I think we're smart enough to fix our own mistakes. It's whether or not we're going to be allowed to do that that is interesting. So as we talk about Carson Beck, as we talk about him in relation to Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, we'll see. Because if Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders slide out of the first round, Carson Beck's going to look very, very smart.